Hey everybody, welcome to the Swimming in Stars Astrology podcast. I'm your host, EP Archer, and today we have a pretty significant astrological event, the full super moon in Scorpio, opposite Taurus, and I wanted to put the chart up and show you some things that are going on. Hope you all are healing and transforming and able to express during this time of pandemic and quarantine, and let's see what the stars have to say to us today. So I'm going to pull up the chart here. We're local to Denver, Colorado, and so our chart is sort of based in Denver. And so I'm just going to kind of walk you through the different parts of the chart here. So obviously the biggest thing that we see right away, the sun and the moon opposite, and that's what a full moon is. Often in astrology, you'll hear talk of, opposites or oppositions, things being in conflict. But if we can embrace signs that are opposite in the zodiac as a continuum for healing, kind of like the way that you work with your north and your south node. If I'm going forward to my destiny, I don't go forward to that destiny with no past, without bringing anything from the past to help me. And likewise, when we're going from Taurus to Scorpio and back and forth, we want that to be a healing continuum. Taurus is manifestation, it's groundedness, it's centered, it's real. We don't get to avoid the real life things that are happening to us. We don't get to avoid things that are disruptive to our peace. We don't get to avoid the idea of planting a seed and actually manifesting it. Taurus brings things to light and brings things to fruitfulness. And also the main motive is to create peace. And so Scorpio is much the opposite of that, but also similar. Like I said, the same end goal is healing and transformation and depth and reality and sensuality. And so Scorpio is going to uproot anything that takes away our peace. It's going to dive deep. It's going to look at all the murkiest parts. And this full moon really asks us to look at the parts of our chart that are very intense about relationships, about diving deep, about anything that is quote unquote taboo. And if you haven't looked up the definition of taboo, I just read it the other day and I was like, wow, I had this totally different mental picture of what taboo means. But it's sort of like things that other people can't understand, or things that aren't just common run of the mill or herd mentality. And I think that kind of information for us right now is so helpful. So anything that's deep and intense and outside of the box, and that is really getting to the nitty gritty, the deep, dark Plutonian nature of our souls that we need to transform in relationships, unignorable under this full moon, and feels very emotive and very deep and personal, yet right out there in the world to see, especially really prevalent and open to see in, one-on-one relationships, especially romantic relationships, commitment-based relationships. If you'll notice, there is a lot of activity in the first house. I didn't put a lot of asteroids out there, but I did put Eris and Black Lilith because they are only 1 degree away in the first house. Black Lilith is, as Sophia Jade likes to say, where our witch is on trial, where we feel like we have to, there's like a do or die situation. And Black Lilith is us being able to look at all the dark parts of our expression, the parts where we don't physically exert ourselves enough, the parts where we don't stand up for ourselves, the parts of us that have been maybe beaten down in a past life, maybe not able to express bravery or strength or resolve or independence. And Eris is sort of like, if I don't do that, I feel violent. And we don't want to feel violent towards ourselves. But when we don't express those parts of our nature that need to be brave and heroic and pioneering, then it's really easy, especially under this moon, to feel violent and to feel lashing out, either to the self or to others that maybe are perceived as standing in the way. And I would encourage all of you that feel that someone is in your way to know that you're the only person that can stand in your way. Uranus and Taurus, which we've just recently started experiencing, Uranus's new 7-year cycle. Taurus is about creating peace and Uranus is about upheaval. So in this particular full moon chart, it's the upheaval of the self in order to create peace. So why do I have a revolution? It's not for mass destruction and mass annihilation. I have a revolution so that at the end of that road, there is true peace, right? So, there might be a situation where, well, it seems a lot more peaceful to be status quo and to not do anything and not rebel against authority or the patriarchy. Well, that seems more peaceful. But in actuality, over time, that creates unrest, dis-ease, the inability to digest who we are and how we are in the world. And so the Uranus revolution is a very intelligent one, a very humanitarian one. It's unless we revolt, unless there's a revolution as to who we are, there can never be peace in our soul. And for any of you that have a Taurus rising or a first house Taurus or late degrees of Aries rising, really take a look at this chart in conjunction with yours and your personal journey and what you need to arrest as far as you're stagnant, you're unable to change, you're unable to move, you're frozen, or you're rigid. And really look at the things that you need to have upheaval in order to truly express the sensual nature of yourself, the bodily nature of yourself, the creative and artistic nature of yourself, and the part of yourself that is not able to just plant a seed, but to grow it, to sprout it, to manifest it in a way that is fruitful, in a way that is prosperous, in a way that feels absolutely peaceful and beautiful to you in every way. Having Mercury conjunct the sun in this chart is really like, we can't help but communicate this. We have to communicate to ourselves how to create peace. We have to be honest and practical in what we are, like the mistakes we've made, where we've fallen short, where we have not created peace, where we have ignored who we are, where we have been too small to stand up for ourselves. And if you look at the midheaven at the top of the chart, 11 degrees of Capricorn, it's being able to be empowered and empowerment, and to be able to be powerful in the way that joins people together, in a way that, that motivates people to be able to be bountiful, in a way that motivates people to be able to go out into the world in a significant way, to create a foundation that everyone can take part in. And of course, if we look at these transits globally, there's some really amazing implications on how we can affect everyone. But I just want to be so specific that when you see Aries and Taurus coming up, these are very personal planets that demand that we do the work for ourselves before we can help others around us. And before we can make an impact globally, we have to be honest with ourselves. Venus in Gemini in the third, it's giving like all the information that we need in order to make harmonious relationships. And so anywhere in your relationships that you don't have enough information, that you need more, just join with the Mars in Aquarius, which is taking action for the higher good, especially in groups and associations, nonprofits, yogis, meditation centers, all these kind of places where we would normally be meeting and gathering, to create that for yourself in a way that's, online, in a way that's facilitated now, and to continue to ask for, dive into, seek out information. Geminis aren't afraid of information. So don't be afraid of the extra information that you need to take action. Again, this is EP Archer with your super full moon update. If you have planets or transits that are directly affected by this, feel free to comment or private message me. I would love to get in touch with you and help you with that. Be sure to check out our Swimming in Stars Facebook page. It's groups, and the name of the group is Star Swim. We would love to have you. We have several professional astrologers on the site, and just welcome your peace and manifestation, and don't be afraid to stare bravery in the face, and do exactly what is needed for your internal peace, for your manifestation of who you are. Stop apologizing and start manifesting. And I'll see you the next moon.